It's Black History Month. Isn't it crazy that black people have all of this history and got the shortest month of the year? So, today I'm going to be discussing the two books that I listened to for Black History Month because I've been trying to get more into audiobooks, uh, which I truly didn't think I would be interested in, but they're very convenient, especially when I'm driving around. I can just listen to it, or I'm at work. I can listen to it as I'm getting my tasks done, and I don't have to like crack open a physical book, even though I love physical books. Don't get me wrong. But sometimes it's just not as convenient as an audiobook. The two audiobooks that I listened to this month are by Djèlí Clark, and they're called Ring Shout and The Black God's Drums, which I've been looking for Ring Shout in physical copy for maybe 3 years at this point, and I'm never able to find it. I think I'm still gonna buy Ring Shout in a physical copy, just because one, the cover, two, I love annotating the books that I read, and I really want to go back and annotate Ring Shout just because there's so much to that story. Even though it's not super long at all, there's such a heavy amount of background in that story, and it's so well done, so well written. Both of the books are very well done and very well written. They're both on the shorter side. I don't remember how many pages. Both of them are under 200 pages, which in audio form, they were like 5 hours, a little over 5 hours each. I was eating it up. Very much enjoying everything that I read. And I'm ready to get into it. Happy Black History Month. Wow. Happy Black History Month. And welcome back to my channel. I haven't been here in I don't know how long. I think 3 months. It's February? Maybe 4 months, which is kind of bad. But life has been doing its thing. I did not forget about this channel though, and we are working towards a regular schedule. I promise we're working towards something very consistent and regular because my schedule is starting to free up, and you really have to just make time for the things that you want. So, let's get into it. What's the tea? Raspberry leaf, because cramps and migraines are plaguing me currently. Love that. Also, the tea on these books. Djèlí Clark writes for the people that see movies in their brain as they read. If you're not that person, you might not enjoy these books. I'm just being very, very honest with you. This story is also for the people that have had the conversation of white people had to be possessed by evil. White people had to be evil incarnates to inflict the pain and torture and evil on all of the people that they did for all of the years that they did. There had to be some supernatural demonic force on those white people, because how do we get here? That's this story. If you've had that conversation, if you've thought about that, this is the story for you. Very much so. And once you read it, it's gonna click. You're gonna be here. The reviews that I saw on Goodreads that were left by, they have obviously never had that conversation, which does not surprise me. Also, more tea on these two books. The some of the reviews that I saw on Goodreads specifically those left by these people. From what I saw, it seemed like these people were mainly upset because the characters that were the villains in the story were, which is very funny because, art imitates life. So I'm going to read the synopsis of Ring Shout and the Black God's Drum, starting with Ring Shout. D.W. Griffith is a sorcerer, and The Birth of a Nation is a spell that drew upon the darkest thoughts and wishes from the heart of America. Now, rising in power and prominence, the Klan has a plot to unleash hell on earth. Luckily, Maurice Boudreaux has a magic sword and a head full of tales. When she's not running bootleg whiskey through Prohibition, Georgia, she's fighting monsters called Ku Kluxes. She's damn good at it, too. But to confront this ongoing evil, she must journey between worlds to face otherworldly nightmares and her own demons. Together, with a foul-mouthed sharpshooter and a Harlem hellfighter, Maurice sets out to save a world from the hate that would consume it. And it's very much a story of Ku Kluxes. Because what? I went into this not prepared for absolutely anything. I thought it was going to be one thing, it was 33 other things. And I enjoyed every bit of it because it all worked. That was Ring Shout, and I've decided to let this review be spoiler free because I really think whoever comes across this video should read these books. I really enjoyed reading this story and knowing the history of Ring Shouts, knowing the history of The Birth of a Nation, and piecing all of these different aspects of history together to create this horror story, which I was gonna say I wouldn't call it horror, but yeah, you get into the description of the Ku Kluxes and start visualizing what they look like. Yeah, it's a horror story. It is definitely a horror story. I had to stop listening to it at some points because the detail it's a very, very detailed story. I went into the story thinking that the Ku Kluxes would just be like monsters in white hoods, which yeah, they are that, but there's a distinction. So you have clan, which are white supremacists, and then you have the Ku Kluxes, who are the monsters that are consumed by hatred, and all of that comes together to make this horror story. And monster hunters and all of that. It's kind of like Supernatural, but black people and in the 1920s. There are a few themes that I saw in Ring Shout that I wanted to discuss. The first one being not giving others the power of our pain to use over us, because we are the only ones that understand the pain that we went through, and we have to take that pain and the power that comes with it to motivate change that we want to see in our lives. That's pretty much Maurice's whole story. She's learning that. Maurice goes through some stuff, and that's the biggest lesson pretty much that she has to learn throughout this whole journey. The next one is there's always more than one enemy, and the next enemy is usually bigger and badder than the first. If you decide to read or listen to this book, you will understand exactly what I'm referencing with this part, because the way that the villains were just stacked, and then you get to a point where you aren't too sure about who is or isn't a villain, which I enjoyed that was really fun, which kind of leads me into my next point of help may come from somewhere that is least expected. Yeah, it usually does because that's life. So I decided to give Ring Shout 4 stars mainly because there seem to be loose ends for me, and a few questions that I wanted a more rounded and complete answer for. And I didn't get that, which I'm not sure if that's a setup for another book. I wouldn't be mad at it. Or maybe that connection isn't made because it's left to the reader to research and understand what the author was referencing or make their own conclusions. I don't know. Sometimes I like to just be told all of the lore flat out. Other times I like to be left to wonder. But this, at least to me, seemed like a very clear setup for another book. I hope that's the case. If it's not, I'll have to be okay with it. Anyway, 4 stars because I really enjoyed it. Moving on to the Black God's Drums. I don't think I didn't take any notes for this. It got 4 stars. I gave it 4 stars again for the same reason. Like, there was so much story in 5 hours. Not sure how many pages exactly this book has. But yes, so much story, so planned out. The world building in this story. In an alternate New Orleans caught in the tangle of the American Civil War, the wall scaling girl named Creeper yearns to escape the streets for the air in particular. By earning a spot on board the airship Midnight Robber, Creeper plans to earn Captain Amory's trust with information she discovers about a Haitian scientist and a mysterious weapon he calls the Black God's Drums. But Creeper also has a secret herself. Oya, the African Orisha of the wind and storms, speaks inside her head and may have her own ulterior motivations. Soon, Creeper, Oya, and the crew of the Midnight Robber are pulled into a perilous mission aimed to stop the Black God's Drums from being unleashed and wiping out the entirety of New Orleans. This was also a story. Alternate New Orleans? American Civil War, like we're in an alternate timeline. And I don't read a lot of fantasy. I believe I've said on here that I'm trying to get more into fantasy. And if this was my introduction, I'm gonna keep reading fantasy because I really enjoyed this. Just seeing how these characters interacted with each other and made the story what it was. I loved Creeper. Creeper honestly is a very solid character. All of the characters in this book are solid and the story is solid. I thought that I would get a little bit lost, um, just kind of understanding more of the world building, but I didn't. It's very clear cut, very easy to understand, and so much fun. The only thing that I would say I wanted more explanation on or more of an understanding of was how Oya became part of Creeper. I think I got a little lost in the explanation of that, or maybe I truly just did not understand it enough. But other than that, I'm not going to go too deep into either of these stories because if I ask the questions that I want to ask in this video, I'll spoil it. And I don't know how to ask the questions without spoiling it. So, if you are interested in reading these books or learning more about these stories, you will just have to listen to them in audiobook form or pick up copies. If you can see this blanket, I'm going to show you. If you can see this, my Nana got this for me for Christmas, and it's so cute. And she told me that she was like, I want you to use it. And I got you put on it. She put me on it. And you can see my twists and my little mug. I believe I have a mug. Yeah, my little mug. It's so cute. If you know me, you know that I love blankets. And now I have another one. So thank you, Nana. Oh, I was about to forget my favorite part of my book reviews. I gotta set the tone. Set the tone for Ring Shout is going to be Didn't My Lord Deliver Daniel, specifically the Alvin Ailey version, because I saw Revelations when I was a little kid, and that music has stuck with me into my adulthood because it's so moving, and the story that is told in the dance production is beautiful. I could talk about Alvin Ailey a whole nother time, but I think that song fits for Ring Shout. So, set the tone for the Black God's drums will be Sinnerman from the same production, um, the music of Revelations, Alvin Ailey. Yeah, same production. Sinnerman specifically has this element. There's a particular part in it where the Sinnerman is running the whole song, honestly. Um, but there's a part in the book that I can't get into because I don't want to spoil it. However, if anybody decides to listen to or read the book, come back to me and we can discuss the particular part that I'm referencing with the song, because as I was listening to that part, I said, oh, that's Sinnerman. Put the whole album with both books. That set the tone. The whole album, both books. Yes, the music of Revelations, Alvin Ailey, American Dance Theater. That's it. This is my Black History Month review. Thank you for staying. I'm Cammie. Welcome to the Book Corner. I would just like to start this off by saying, Caucasians to the back. Immediately. Immediately. Ooh.